Warm welcome back again, children, to the class of biology. We've already started the third chapter, that is Kingdom Plantae, of the plant kingdom, and we will continue with that. We talked about the general characteristics of plants in the previous class, and we talked a little about the different classifications. We talked about the artificial classification, the natural classification, phylogenetic classification, etc. We talked about cytotaxonomy. We talked about numerical and chemotaxonomy, and this was based on a particular kind of classification which is known as the phenetic classification, right? And we talked about the characteristics. And today we move on to the next part, and we will talk about Halophyta or algae. Halophyta, and here we will be talking about algae. Now, Halophyta, the word Halophyta is derived from the word thallus, and we talked about the word thallus. Thallus means an undifferentiated body, right? So it's just a mass of cells. An undifferentiated body, what do I mean by that? Undifferentiated means, here if we are talking about the plant kingdom, that means the body is not divided into the proper root, stem and the leaves, right? So just mind it, I'm talking about the proper, right? So maybe here we will find root-like or we can say root-like or stem-like structures, but as such, here it's just a thallus or an undifferentiated body. Now we'll just talk about the general characteristics of halophytes or algae. Now these are chlorophyll bearing organisms, right? So that means algae bears chlorophyll, right? So they are chlorophyll bearing organisms. They have chlorophyll, and of course a thalloid body. That means the body is undifferentiated. It is an undifferentiated plant, and it is one of the simplest plants in the plant kingdom, right? And when we talk about the developmental stages of an algae, we find that there is no stage as an embryo stage, right? What we talked about embryo earlier, we've discussed that after fertilization a zygote is formed, and when the zygote further divides, it turns into an embryo. So that embryo stage is missing, right? So the embryo stage is not found in algae, right? And usually the algae are aquatic. As we talked about algae earlier, I told you on in a pond, the top surface, if you see that it appears green in color, that is because of the algae, right? So they are usually aquatic, that means they are found in water, right? They may be marine or maybe fresh water, and at various depths also they are found, right? And their body is covered, right? So they are usually aquatic, right? So, and when they are aquatic, their whole body is covered with a layer of mucilage. Mucilage, it is a gelatinous protective layer that protects the body from the harm that can be caused by water. Like it stops the desiccation or the decaying of the body, right? So that's about the mucilage. So they are marine and they are also fresh water. Their sizes are variable, right? So size is variable. Now they are variable means they are unicellular algae also found, and they are found to be in colonies, or they may be filamentous algae also, right? So they are unicellular. Chlamydomonas is an example of unicellular, right? So they may be unicellular, they may be multicellular also, right? Unicellular, multicellular, colonial, living in colonies, right? So colonial, bulwarks, is an example of an colonial algae, lives in colonies. Then we have filamentous algae, filamentous, like filaments, ribbon-like structure, right? So Spirogyra is an example of a filamentous algae, right? So that's about the size. So what do we get to see over here? That the size is variable from unicellular forms to filamentous forms are all found, and they are found to, some of them, they live in colonies. Right now, since they are aquatic, since they are found in water, so the vascular system as such is not required for them. Right? So the vascular system, we talked, what is the vascular system? The presence of xylem and phloem. So the vascular system is absent. That means it is not present, right? And even the vascular tissues are absent, xylem and phloem are tissues, and even mechanical tissues are absent. Mechanical tissues that which provide support to the plant to stand upright, right? To stand straight. So the mechanical tissues are also absent. Now when the mechanical tissues are absent, then how is it that the algae is held upright, right? So I told you they are aquatic, right? They are held upright because of the buoyancy of water, right? So that is how they are held upright, right? Then again, they are autotrophic, right? Autotrophic means they can perform, they can manufacture their own food, and since they are chlorophyll bearing, right? Chlorophyll bearing. Now they are photosynthetic, right here, autotrophic, and they are photosynthetic. We talked about this in the previous class, right? Photosynthetic. What type of chlorophyll are found in them? Chlorophyll A, B, C, D. Now there are different types. Just now we'll study about the different categories of algae, and we will find that not in all the algae all the types of chlorophyll are found, but chlorophyll A is found in all the groups of algae, right? So B, C and D are again differentiated, that we will talk about when we will in detail discuss the categories of algae, the divisions of algae, right? So they are photosynthetic, that means they can manufacture their own food, right? Apart from being photosynthetic, they have other pigments also present, right? So they have other pigments present that give them color, right? So what we will see just now is that the algae are green, they're green algae, they're red algae, they're brown algae. Now from where has this color come, the green, red and brown algae? Now that is because of the different pigments that are present in the algae. So, alright. So that's about the pigment that we discussed about in algae, and we come to the next characteristic feature, that is reproduction. The algae, they reproduce by vegetative means, by asexual means and as well as by sexual means. Now vegetatively, they reproduce by fragmentation, right? So I'll just write V here, vegetatively by fragmentation. Right, what is fragmentation? When the body breaks up into pieces, each piece is capable to grow into a new organism, right? And asexually, they reproduce by spores, right? So asexually, they reproduce by spores, and most common spores are the zoospores, right? Most common spores are the zoospores. What are these zoospores? These are flagellated spores, and they are able to move, right? So zoospores, it is not that always asexual reproduction takes place by zoospores, but the most common way of asexual reproduction is by zoospores, right? And then we come to the sexual reproduction. In the sexual reproduction, isogamous, right? When both the gametes are identical, then they are isogamous, isogamous reproduction, and isogamous. Then both the gametes are not identical, right? The size, there's a difference in size. And then oogamous. Oogamous is when one gamete is small and it is flagellated, and the other gamete is big and without a flagella. So that is oogamous type of reproduction, right? So all three modes of reproduction: vegetative by fragmentation, and asexual by spores, most commonly the zoospores, and sexual by isogamous and oogamous. All three types can take place differently, right? So that's about the general characteristics of algae, and we will quickly go through the uses, and we will also talk about the different classes. Now this algae is divided into three categories, right? So Halophyta, we are talking about the algae. They are divided into three categories, and these three categories are Chlorophyceae, right? Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, and Rhodophyceae, right? So these are the three categories or the three groups of algae. Now, what are the characteristic features of these three groups of algae, right? Chlorophyceae is a green algae, right? Then comes the second one, Phaeophyceae. This is a brown algae. Rhodophyceae is red algae. And as I told you that the color green, brown and red is because of the difference in them, right? All the three categories of algae, they have chlorophyll present, right? So let's say here there's a particular method of writing. Chlorophyll A is present in all the three, right? Chlorophyll A is present in all the three, right? Then B is present in Chlorophyceae, C is present in Phaeophyceae, and D is present in Rhodophyceae, right? So if you write this in order, you will be able to write exactly the type of chlorophyll present in each of them, right? So here they are, right? They're divided like that, right? Now the next characteristic is, now these are the major pigments. Chlorophyll is the major pigment that is present. Then of course now they are differently colored. That means there are some other pigments also present along with the chlorophyll, right? So in Phaeophyceae there is another pigment that is present, which is known as xanthophylls. Right, children, so xanthophyll is the pigment that is present in Phaeophyceae. Fucoxanthin and carotenoids are the pigments present, which gives Phaeophyceae the brown color, right? So that is why they are called brown algae. And Rhodophyceae, chlorophyll A and D are already present, and the red color of Rhodophyceae is because of the pigment phycoerythrin, right? So this is the main pigment that is present in Rhodophyceae, which gives it the red color. Right now, the algae that belongs to Rhodophyceae are also found, they are marine and they are found in deep sea, right? So they are found in deep sea. They are the only photosynthetic algae that are found in deep sea. And then how do they manage to manufacture their own food? Because the sun rays are unable to reach that depth, right? So again here there is a particular wavelength of light that is able to reach the deep sea, and using that they are able to manufacture their food, right? So that is why the Rhodophyceae are found in abundance in deep sea, right? So now we come to the other characteristic feature, and that is the stored food, right? So we know that every organism stores food, and we know that in animals glycogen is the main type of food that is stored, and in plants it is the starch, right? So in Chlorophyceae the food that is stored is starch, right? Along with starch a little bit of protein is also there, right? And these are stored in a structure known as pyrenoid, right? So they are stored in pyrenoids. There's a structure that is present in that only the food is stored, right? So these pyrenoids, they contain protein and besides starch, right? So again here we move on to the next one, that is pure feces. The type of stored food in pure feces that is in this group is mannitol, POL, and lamineril, right? This is the stored food found in pure feces, and in rhodophysi the stored food is floridian starch, right? So this is the stored food in rhodophysi, right? Now being plants, they all have cell wall, right? So in chlorophysi they have a cellulose cell wall, and in pheophysi the cell wall is cellulosic. Apart from that, they have a layer of algin present, right? A kind of a protective layer they have, which is known as algin, and this is a gelatinous coating that is present around the algae, right? So algin is this gelatinous coating that is present in pheophysi, and in rhodophysi the cell wall is made up of cellulose. Other than cellulose, it has pectin and polysulfate esters are also present, right? So that's about the cell wall of all the three groups. Then as we discussed earlier when we were talking about the general characteristics of these of algae, we talked about the spores that are present, and we said that the zoospores are the most common spores that are present, right? So now I told you that not all the types of algae have zoospores present. That means that the reproduction does not take place only by means of zoospores, right? So zoospores are flagellated. So in chlorophysi, right, the spores that are present are flagellated, right? They are motile. We can say that they are motile, and they have around 2 to 8 equal flagella that are present. 2 to 8 flagella that are present. In pheophysi, we see that they are also motile, right, and they have 2 unequal flagella present. Whereas in rhodophysi, motile spores are absent, right? So no flagella is present, no flagella present. That means they are not motile. The spores are not motile in rhodophysi, right? We come to the habitat. That means habitat means what type of place are these algae found, right? So chlorophysi is generally found in fresh water. They are also found in brackish water, right? So fresh water, brackish water means salty water, right? Then we come to pheophysi. Pheophysi are also found in fresh water, also found in brackish water, and again we can see that the habitat of chlorophysi and pheophysi are almost the same, right? So even though they are found in fresh water, the only difference is that very rarely we find pheophysi in fresh water. They are found, but not always, right? And if we talk about chlorophysi, then they are always found in fresh water. Then we come to rhodophysi. Rhodophysi are also found in fresh water. Some of them are found in fresh water and brackish water also. Mostly they are found in this salt water, right? Brackish water. So some are found, some in fresh water and most in brackish water, right? So that is their habitat. So that's about the habitat. And if we talk about the structure of pheophysi, right? What is pheophysi? Pheophysi is a brown algae which has a mucilate, a gelatinous covering around itself, which is known as algin. And if we look at the structure of pheophysi, although we say that it is haloid, we find that Pheophysi, it has a root-like structure like this, right, arising, a stem-like structure and a structure like this. So now this root-like structure is known as hold fast, right? So they are known as hold fast, right? The stem-like structure is known as stipe, and this capsule-like structure, or which looks like the crown of a tree, this is known as frond, right? So that is the general structure of Pheophysi that are found, right? So that's about the three categories of algae that we had to study in this class. Other than that, we come to the next topic about the thallophytes is the use, right? So we will talk about the uses of algae. So what are the uses of algae? So algae are basically used as food. Used as food. Why are they used as food? Because they are rich in lipids, proteins, vitamins and minerals, right? So that is the food value. They are rich in lipids, proteins, vitamins and minerals, right? So great food value, right? That is these are the general uses, right? So altogether of all three categories. Then there is one algae known as chlorella, which is used as an antibiotic, right? Chlorella is an algae that is used as an antibiotic. Then now since they are green algae, they photosynthesize, and whenever we talk about photosynthesis means using of carbon dioxide. That means they help in carbon dioxide fixation, right? So they help in carbon dioxide fixation. Other than that, they also help in the oxidation of their surrounding, right? So we will also say sewage oxidation. In the sewage area, if they are found, obviously if they are photosynthesizing, they are using carbon dioxide, then they are generating or they are giving out oxygen, right? So they have one of the value or the uses for sewage oxidation. Then there is a substance known as agar, right? This is a medium. This substance is obtained after boiling an algae, which is again a product, we can say, of algae or something that we get from algae, and this is used to grow microbes. That means this is used as a medium, right? So it must be rich in nutrients also, right? So it is used to grow microbes, right? So if you remember, when we talked about tissue culture in class 10th, you studied very briefly about tissue culture, and in that the medium that is used for the growth of the tissue is the agar medium, right? So that is the medium, and it is also, of course, other than that, it is also used in the preparation of ice creams and jellies, right? So it is used in the preparation of ice creams and jellies. Now they also increase the dissolved oxygen level in their immediate surroundings. So wherever they are found, since they photosynthesize, so they increase the oxygen level in their surrounding, right? There are certain marine brown and red algae that produce a large amount of hydrocolloids produced by red and brown algae, right? So these hydrocolloids they have a good water holding capacity. Hydro is water, right? So they have a good water holding capacity. And algin, which is a coating that is found on brown algae. If you remember, we talked about Pheophysi, and we said that these group of algae, they have gelatinous coating around their body, right? So algin is a coating that is found on brown algae, and carrageen is a coating that is found on red algae, right? So they are hydrocolloids, they have a good water holding capacity, right? So algin in red algae and carrageen in algin in brown algae and carrageen in red algae, right? Chlorella and spirulina, which are unicellular algae, they are rich in proteins. They are used, when these in the space, when the people travel, right? All these scientists and all who go, astronauts and all who go in the space for various research work. The food that they carry with them is not the normal food that we eat in our everyday lives, right? So they carry this chlorella and spirulina, which are very, very rich in protein, right? So chlorella and spirulina, they are used as food by space travelers, right? So even they are used by space travelers, right? So that's all about algae. Today in this class we talked about the general characteristics of algae, we talked about the divisions of algae, in which we discussed about chlorophyceae, theophyceae and rhodophyceae, and we discussed about the uses of algae. Right now now we will be talking about the bryophytes as well.